we need to give the same level of attention to each channel and start investing there if they want to keep up. Otherwise, they're going to lose out, I believe.
You're listening to the Keep Optimizing podcast to increase your traffic, improve your conversion rates, and grow your profits.
Hello and welcome. I'm Chloe Thomas, the host of this e-commerce marketing focused podcast. If you're not familiar with our format, each month we focus on a different marketing method like email or SEO or Facebook ads. And each week I interview a different expert to explore the latest advice on making it work for you. Now, I love it when you guys get in contact. So when we get a lovely mention on social or someone emails me or DMs me on LinkedIn, I like to give you a shout out to say thanks for the joy you bring to me when you send me the messages. So this time I have to say a huge thank you and hello to Melanie Wynn, who's a D2C growth specialist. Melanie recently DM'd me on LinkedIn to say she's just started listening. Thank you very much to recent guest Nikki Lomax for encouraging Melanie to tune in, and that she's loving the show and she's going to go back and listen to the whole lot. How impressive is that? Well, look, thanks so much, Melanie, for getting in contact. This month, we are all about offline marketing. Yeah, still very digital, but definitely offline. So far, we've explored the world of direct mail, what it takes to make a catalogue successful from the website to the data you buy to send it, exploring techniques which have barely changed over the last few decades. In this episode, we're exploring something that demonstrates the power of matching online and offline marketing skill sets. We're tackling the unboxing experience. If you've seen videos on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, etc., you will know how much consumers love the unboxing experience. It is a nerve-wracking time for the customer. They are, for the very first time, getting their hands on your product. They're going to find out if they actually like it. They're going to find out if it's going to do what they want. So they are excited, they are nervous, and you have a huge opportunity to wow them at that point by making them feel wanted, making them feel connected to your business. You have the power to help them get through the confusion of that product. You know, there's nothing worse than a product arriving. You can't work out how to put it together or how to use it. You get the piece of kitchen equipment and you cannot work out how to make the best of it, or you can't find any recipes for it. All that can be solved with the solution we're going to be talking about today. It's about personalizing what goes into those parcels to make sure each customer gets the best possible message, which of course then has a really positive impact on your profitability, your long-term customer retention, short-term ROI, and all those other great things that you're being challenged to do and deliver at the moment. This is one that you could 100% have up and running pre-Christmas. It's going to take a lot of the stuff you've built into other channels and make it work harder for you. So this is, to my mind, as you'll hear throughout this episode, I think this is a no-brainer to explore and most probably to implement. Do make sure you listen right to the end of the episode, because then my guest is sharing some quick-fire insider tips to help you maximize the performance of all this. And then I'll be sharing my take on it all and outlining some more free ways we can help you improve your offline marketing even more. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the episode. Shopify recently turned the tables on me and took me from interviewer to interviewee, knowing, as they do, that the most successful retailers today are those that bridge the gap between online and offline and make it a seamless experience. Shopify wanted my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, particularly in the key areas of local selling, omnichannel selling, and cross-border selling. You can read my thoughts along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain and Italy by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify and downloading the report. That's keepopt.com/Shopify. In this episode, I'm chatting with offline marketing expert Doug Franklin. Doug is the founder and CEO at Penny Black, who are all about taking control of the unboxing experience to drive engagement and conversion rates through the roof. Hello, Doug.
Hey, Chloe. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on. I've been a fan of Penny Black for, I think, a couple of years now, which seems like a very long time, but what you're doing is absolutely brilliant. So really good to have you here to tell the audience a bit more about it. Before we get deep into that, though, how did you get into offline marketing?
Yeah, great question, Clay. It's like my origin story. So, and it's an interesting one because my background isn't in e-commerce or retail at all. I came from financial services, but it was the height of COVID when we were all at home and doing what all people at home were doing at that time, is shopping online. And the most exciting part of my day would be that moment when the doorbell would ring. I probably have to put on trousers, run down, open the door, receive my package from the delivery driver, and super excited about what I'd just bought to get me through those long days. Would open it up, my product would be there, which is great, but I was getting spammed with so many dog food flyers. I don't know why. I felt that I was in the ICP for someone who was buying dog food, but I don't own a dog, I don't have a pet. And it was that moment that sort of clicked. I'm like, this isn't good enough, right? Surely there's got to be a way to improve this, because at that same time I was getting these incredible email flows and SMS flows that were really personalized, really targeted to what I was doing, but it just didn't match the offline experience I was getting. And that kind of sparked the idea for how do we start bridging this gap between what we're getting online and offline.
I totally get that pain point. How did you go from finance though to launching it? Because hasn't been that long since the pandemic to have put together something that pulls on a very complicated part of the retail space, because you've got data and you've got the old world fulfillment centres and print, and it's real time. How did you manage to pull that together in just a few years?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of product development in there, and we spent a lot of time actually on building the product, because the thing, as you can imagine with this, is yes, it pulls on a lot of elements, but the key thing is actually convincing the warehouses that this isn't going to disrupt their operational processes. So we spent a lot of time in R&D, and we're very lucky that actually one of our investors is a big print technology company. So we were benefited so much from their innovation and expertise to accelerate our development. That's kind of was our focus: build the product, convince the warehouses that it isn't going to disrupt their operational process. And we spent quite a bit of time doing that because we wanted to be ready to take it to market. But you can see, I'm pleased you said that it feels like we've been around for a lot longer. But we did that, and then the uptake has been really high following that, right? Because now people are going, oh, great, this is possible, and it's not that difficult to implement. So whilst we might feel like old dogs in the spaces, we're still relatively new in terms of being operational.
I love you explaining how you approached it there, because I think what strikes me as difficult about what you're doing is that the marketers get excited about it, and I would imagine they can very quickly see it. I imagine that the audience listening to this, a lot of them are going to get to the end of this and they're going to go, we need that, we need it now. But the warehouse team, or it might be a slight tech integration intake of breath. It's going to be one or the others, and the fact you've taken it from that approach is absolutely brilliant. But we should stop keeping people in suspense and actually talk about what we're about to talk about, which is, it's all about the unboxing experience, isn't it? Which is such an emotional part, probably the most emotional part of the e-commerce buyer journey. And as you were saying, can be awful if you're just getting endless flyers for dog subscription services, not subscriptions for dogs, everybody, subscriptions for dog food. So how do you help us improve that unboxing experience? What should we be doing?
I was describing sort of like my pain point, I guess, there from a consumer view. And then when we started building Penny Black out, we had to think about the equivalent from what's going on for the e-commerce sort of or marketer or someone running these functions, right? And when we think about what do they have to grapple with? Personalization is, of course, it's just the standard now. It's expected. Everyone has to do it. Not only do you have to do it, you have to do it through every single channel. So you can't have a great website and then a rubbish email or a rubbish unboxing experience. And you've also got to differentiate and be seen, right? Because everything's becoming saturated, everything's becoming a bit playbooky, right? So actually, what are you going to do to cut through that noise and cut through all those kind of things? So that's where I think for Watch That goes, actually, I can use the same data I'm using for email and SMS and all my other post-purchase communications in this unboxing moment. So the first thing I'd say is get into this mindset that the same data I'm using for all my other channels, I can use at this unboxing moment now.
So we can welcome them as a first-time customer because we know that we've got it in our data. We can encourage them to sign up to our emails if we know they haven't signed up to our emails. We can, if we know they're one of our VIPs, we can give them something, say something special, give them something. If they've bought a certain product, we can give them a way of dealing with that product or sorting out that product. And can we even integrate this with a loyalty program? So a points balance could be in the box right there for them.
Yeah, of course you can integrate it with anything, and that's the main integration we focus on at the moment are your e-commerce store and the CDP, but the integrations with anything else, your loyalty program, to tell them how far along they are on the journey. And this is the exciting thing because it's taking it from like inserts into parcels aren't anything new. People have been doing them for ages, but as I described, like it used to be a one size fits all approach. And we know that whilst it does convert, not as well. And now having this flexibility to, I say, just reimagine where are they in their customer life cycle? Where are they? What products have they bought? What might they want to buy next? Those are all the new use cases you're able to unlock now.
I think I was saying to you before we hit record, back 20 years ago when I ran catalogue mailings and customer comms for a high street retailer here in the UK, our bounce back catalogue, so putting a full 164-page catalogue at the peak of Christmas into every parcel, was hugely ROI positive for us. But with the technology there exists today, I don't think we'd be doing that, because we would look at it and go, 164-page catalogue, when we could do a personalised, A4 sheet that's giving them the right information for that customer at the right time. I think we would have gone down that route and it would become even more ROI positive because the response from the customer would be so much greater. And whilst the cost of putting a catalogue in a parcel is not huge because pretty much the postage is already taken care of, putting an A4 flyer in there is an awful lot cheaper.
Yeah, correct, right? So, the print production costs and all of that will be way less for an insert that goes in versus a flyer. But I think you're spot on because we've tested this, right? Any tool these days has to deliver an ROI, right? And the great thing is that we've been able to really see coming through the platform super high conversion rates and a 6 to 10x ROI. But what's great about it is you can mix your ROI generating campaigns with some more engagement led campaigns or welcome campaigns. So it doesn't all have to be about ROI, but now you've got this flexibility, but the tool will pay for itself and deliver something strong. So you've got this real flexibility in terms of what you can do to enhance, like depending on what your again, you just described it earlier, the types of different goals a company might be going for anytime. You can tweak it as you go, depending on what your company's goals are. Education, growth, upsells.
We're all struggling to get our heads around, let alone make work, attribution these days in e-commerce with all the stuff that's happening with the privacy changes and all the rest of it. But what we're talking about here is retention marketing. We are only sending marketing to people who bought something. So we already have all their data. And because this is fully integrated, we know exactly what went out in their parcel. So you don't, I'm sure you can put a nice code in there to track it, but you don't even need to do that. You could take cohort A, we're going to send education to for 3 months. Cohort B, we're going to send sales driving promo messages for 3 months. We'll measure their lifetime value over 12 months. So we can immediately start to see, and I'm sure you can do that over much shorter time spans as well. It's kind of like the ultimate get around all the tracking problems tracking for results.
Yeah.
Are you doing
correct.
more sophisticated, more kind of do you do QR codes, voucher codes, that kind of stuff to track results as well, though?
We do both, yeah. So QR codes is the one we do, and you're right, referral codes. Those are the two key elements that we use. And the great thing about the way we track results is when we generate those referral codes and those QR codes and we track the engagement with them, we also send that data back to the CRMs or other customer data platforms that merchants are using. And this really helps them unlock other flows along the way because they can see how you've engaged with the insert, and then there can be hey, we've seen you've scanned here, just a reminder of the offer in this. That's really cool that we now start to sync up these offline and online channels. But a cool thing that we had the other day was I couldn't believe this, Chloe, was one of our merchants, one of actually the strongest performing engagement rates from our campaigns. It tells you a lot about his audience and his community, but some of the people didn't have phones that could scan QR codes, and they were calling him up to say, how can we redeem this offer, which I thought was quite cool, right? I thought you assume that everyone's got sort of a phone that can do it, but hats off to him for the community he's built, because that's incredible that people are so engaged that they're prepared to, even if they can't scan it, ring up and try, or email in and try to get the disc or the offer.
It's like an awesome problem, but people can't respond, and they're contacting me to tell me they can't respond, but they still can't respond. It's one of those nightmares that gives but takes away at the same time. But going back to that bit where you're feeding the data back in, so excuse terrible example here, but for example, if we were selling bread makers and we'd sent out a flyer with a link to a great starter recipe book that was on our website, And so your system is tracking the fact they've gone there. That's feeding back into our email system, where then we can start sending them content of how to take it to the next level, because we know they've used it for the first time, rather than sending a sequence encouraging them to use it for the first time so they actually engage with the products. Of course, in my imagination, the bread maker has follow-up products to sell. So you want to know how far they are along their bread making journey.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Very, very cool. You mentioned about how everyone's being forced, or how the ROI is so important at the moment, and about how we are all trying to achieve more with less because there's less cash available in the business, and we're all suddenly being told we have to hit profit targets. I would assume, because as I alluded to earlier, the bulk of the costs of this channel are already being paid for by the company, whether they want to or not. We're picking, we're packing, we're putting things in a box, we are posting it out to the customer. We are already invested in the majority of the cost for this channel. So this strikes me as one of those obvious quick wins for a marketing department to drive some results. We are putting this out for the audience in July. Talking quickness, is it possible to get a properly integrated, clever first iteration up and running in time for Christmas? Let's say Christmas is kicking off in October.
Oh, yes. Like, definitely. Like, I mean, there is an onboarding time, like everything has, because there is, as I said, with our product, there is a bit of a lift to get this installed at warehouses, but we haven't had any blockers to doing that to date. But, if they're listening to this in July, you'll be up and printing before October, without a doubt.
You heard it here, everybody. Feel free to hold Doug to that, but do it nicely. And is this, as I suspect, a channel that can be hugely ROI positive if you get the messaging and the content? And because obviously there's the bit you're putting in place, but then the customer, the merchant's got to do the work to go, how are we segmenting? What are we sending to each person? So if we're doing that in an intelligent way, is it very possible to get a good return?
Yes, absolutely. And what you described there, I mean, is the right way to go. Because if you start, if you keep thinking about the channels, I'm only going to do like one or two. Like, it's just I'm going to add someone's name to the insert and give them. That's old school, right? That's not the way to optimize and make this better. You've got to think about in depth. What are your segments? What message do the segments get? Get really targeted. Think about this in the same way you would think about your digital channels. And of course, we've got our own intelligence that we've been developing over the years about what works best for certain verticals at certain touch points. Because it is a new touch point, so it does perform slightly differently to other channels. So we can share our insights, but also encourage merchants to think about this in that same hyper-targeted way. And we also make it easy, because what we're not trying to do is reinvent the wheel. So you can import segments from your data platforms and CRMs to go like, hey, why create segments in two places? Let's use these segments and use this as a multi-touch strategy. So that's how we're trying to make it easy for them to do that hyper-personalized targeting.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? All those things you're saying, everybody listening, you should already be doing them. You should already know which your best segments are. You should already have some kind of grasp of what sort of promotions and content you should be sending to each of those customer groups. So in the first instance, your initial tests, your initial deployment, it's not perfectly copy and paste, but I'm guessing it should be heavily built on what you're already doing. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We're just opening up another channel.
Yes, correct.
Do you find that most people are putting something in every parcel, or is there we're only doing this for certain customers, or is it an across the board piece? Should we have, default is this, and then special people get X, Y, and Z? Is that our scenario?
It's such a mix of what merchants want to do, and the great thing is you can scale up and down. For some periods of time, you might want to only be targeting X cohort because this aligns with your other goals and objectives. As you ramp up towards those peak periods, you want to be, listen, this is such an opportunity to get in front of as many people as possible. We're going to dial it up and have almost a campaign that goes in every single order. So you've got the flexibility. We find that most of our customers, whilst there is a mix, most people try and make the most use of every single package they are sending. We find that's kind of like the default, but there are, like I say, examples where people are really focused and target certain cohorts.
Got you. And What have we missed, Doug? Before we move on to the lovely insider tips round, what else does the audience need to know to make the most of all their parcels and improve their marketing performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think what they need to know, and it's something you touched on earlier, because whilst this is a product for marketers, right? It's a product that's going to help marketers achieve their goals. There is this ick that they have around, as you described, like warehouse integration, WMS, printers, and it's to the point. I say, like, so much R&D has actually gone into solving that. The innovation of Penny Black is actually solving that problem, because that's the really difficult bit that we've got to get right. And we've got such a good track record of it now. We work with 3PLs, we work with internal warehouses, we work with massive 3PLs, we work with small 3PLs. It's such a mix. We've done it in so many different environments that it can be done. There's no blockers to doing it. It just requires, someone to speak to in your ops team, and it will get done.
Love it. There you go, guys. That blockage you're imagining is nowhere near a blockage, the blockage that you're thinking about it. Brilliant. Thank you, Doug. It's been awesome finding out about how we can improve our parcel experience in a 21st century way, and not just put a flyer in it, which is normally, my minimum approach is, guys, just put something out in your parcels. You can be a lot more clever than that and give the customers that personalised experience that they demand and expect these days. So thank you so much for all of that, Doug. Listeners, make sure you stay tuned right to the end so you don't miss out on Doug's insider tips on offline marketing and my suggestions for more free resources to help you improve things even further in your business. Shopify recently turned the tables on me and took me from interviewer to interviewee, knowing, as they do, that the most successful retailers today are those that bridge the gap between online and offline and make it a seamless experience. Shopify wanted my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, particularly in the key areas of local selling, omnichannel selling, and cross-border selling. You can read my thoughts along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain, and Italy by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify and downloading the report. That's keepopt.com/Shopify. Okay, Doug, so far we've gone deep into the parcel experience. Now you get to wow us with your insider knowledge about the whole of offline marketing. So for the following questions, your answer can be anything to do with offline marketing, which of course includes all those things we've already been talking about. Doug, are you ready for these?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, let's start with newbie advice. If we've inspired someone to take their first step, what do they need to know to give themselves the best chance of success?
You should be using the same data you're using in your digital channels, your email, your SMS for this channel.
Simple as that, everybody. Don't reinvent the wheel. Now, once you've started, of course, you've got to keep optimizing. So what's your favorite way to improve performance?
Yeah, I think it's getting over the inertia or the fear that printing is something fixed and can't be changed. The first example of this is, as we described, you can have multiple segments, right? You should be testing multiple segments, multiple cohorts all the time. That's the obvious one. But the other one is changing your copy in real time. And what I mean by this is you can see in the platform live what's going on with your campaigns. And if they're not performing as they should, there's nothing stopping you from 10:30 just changing the copy on insert, because the order that comes out at 10:31 will be an optimized a piece of content that goes out to them. And it's helping merchants get over the inertia that, it's printed, it's set. No, you can change it, just like you change your emails in real time. And it's that sort of like, okay, this is dynamic, is how I would encourage people to think about optimizing. It can be optimized in real time.
That's kind of cool, isn't it? It's not like there's a stack of flyers we've got to get through in the warehouse before we're allowed to print anymore. It's like, right, that's been running for a week. We've had nowhere near the response rate we were expecting. Let's change it.
Correct. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, if someone wants to learn more, is there one cheap or free resource you can recommend?
Yeah, I mean, there is a free resource. It's a resource we've created ourselves, which is, as I described earlier, it's about all this intelligence and great examples of where we see brands using this channel really well and really effectively. I want to say it's a resource we've created because we're almost creating this new category here, right? So offline print marketing's existed for forever. We haven't created that. Variable dynamic print marketing's been around too for a while. Thinking about direct mail here, but this ability to do it in real time and then sync it with your broader retention marketing strategies and channels is very new. And the intelligence we're gathering on that and how what we're seeing from a campaign perspective is quite cool. And I'd love to share that with anyone who's interested.
So to get their hands on all those great examples that your customers have been producing to spark the creative juices and get people working out what they can do, do they go to the Penny Black website or do they contact you? What's the best way to get their hands on that?
They can either go directly to the Penny Black website, pennyblack.io, or drop me an email. It's douglas@pennyblack.io, which is slightly weird because everyone calls me Doug, but it's douglas@pennyblack.io, and I will happily send those examples across.
Brilliant. Thank you. I think this is definitely one of those marketing channels where having those examples to look at is going to be super important for everybody. So thank you for sharing that one. Finally, crystal ball time. What's coming up in the next 6 to 12 months that we should be getting ready for?
God, I wish I had something sexier to say about like AI, but I don't. But what I do think is going to happen, it's based on, I was looking at the Klaviyo benchmarks the other day, and I don't know if you've seen them, Clay, but what I thought was quite interesting. I was looking at some of the top performing merchants and the results they were trying to achieve. Or the results they were achieving. And when you look at the top decile, the top 10% there, you can see that by investing in another channel, the SMS in this case, you're seeing the huge variation between the top decile and the rest of the cohort. And what that's telling me is people are starting to not just pay lip service to all their channels and focus on one. They're actually going, hang on, we need to sync this up. We need to treat every channel with the same level of personalization, the same level of thought, the same level of strategy. And I think over the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see people realizing we need to give the same level of attention to each channel and start investing there if they want to keep up. Otherwise, they're going to lose out, I believe.
I could not agree with you more. I think the winners are starting to do that and are already getting their heads around it. Same experience, seamless experience across all the channels, and integrating that and building the tech stacks that enable them to do it, because it's infinitely possible now and the consumers want it. So yeah, I think you're right. It should be on everybody's list at the moment. So loving that one. Doug, we're very nearly at the end of the show. So could you please let the listeners know how they can get in contact with you and Penny Black?
Sure. So if you want any further information, just have a look at our website. It's pennyblack.io. You can follow Penny Black or myself on LinkedIn. It's Douglas Franklin, and my email address is douglas@pennyblack.io. But please call me Doug.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, absolutely love what you guys are doing. It's such a cool marketing channel that loads of businesses aren't using very well. So really hope you get lots of the listeners getting in contact after that one. But thank you so much for being here and sharing so much with us. We really appreciate it. So as you'll have worked out from that, I am a huge fan of the power of things in your parcels. And I think whether you're going to go with the fully programmatic, integrated, personalized version that Penny Black offer you, or whether you are just going to go with some flyers in every parcel, make sure something is going out alongside your products, because it's a great point at which to get the customer to drive the sales. What I love from talking about with Doug, and if you can, I would definitely go the fully personalized route, because the power is huge. My terrible example of the bread maker, if you can help someone use your product and succeed with your product faster, that builds that strong relationship with them. It enables you to take so many other steps in that journey with them. And it's a point where they want to feel special and they want to feel like you're caring about them. And I think there's just so much scope with it. And as Doug was saying, still very possible to get this one in play in time for the Christmas rush this year. Plus, that big barrier of the warehouse and the ops side of things, they are experienced with a lot of different tech now. And they have an awful lot of experience of helping you get your warehouse team on board with it all too. So huge opportunity. Really, I think this one's a really exciting one. You can get those links to all the things we discussed, the full transcript of the episode, important notes and more at keepoptimizing.com, or use our special direct to episode short links. Just put keepopt.com/the number of this episode into the URL bar and you'll be redirected straight to the correct episode page. When you get to the website, you can also add yourself to our email list so you don't miss out on any of the other things I share to help you improve your business. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Keep Optimizing podcast. If you've enjoyed the episode, well, do check out episode 150, which is all about personalized direct mail. So that's taking the same concept, but not putting it in a parcel, rather sending it through the post. And you can find all our offline marketing episodes by scrolling up your feed or using the short link keepopt.com/offline. Please do tell your fellow marketers about the show, because I want to help as many of you as possible to improve the performance of your e-commerce marketing, to help you do more with less. Have a great week, and make sure you listen to the next episode so I can help you to keep optimizing your marketing.
Access everything Keep Optimizing at keepoptimizing.com. That's with an S, not a Z.
Don't forget to download Shopify's new industry report featuring my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain, and Italy by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify.